Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome in to After the Whistle. I am your host today, Jimmy Cody, and I am joined alongside by my co-host, Jeffrey Bozzi. Jeffrey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Jimmy. We have a lot to get into today. It's going to be an action-packed show for sure.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot to get into. So the first thing that I want to start off with, I'm not even going to waste any time. Actually, you know what? Let me ask, how was your weekend?
It was fun. I did a lot. Got a lot of work done. Saw a lot of friends. It was good. It was our last really full weekend before the break.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to see everyone. Hopefully I'll see everyone this week too as well. But it was a fun weekend for sure. How about you, Jimmy?
It was good. It was good. I had a fun time this weekend. So let's get right into pretty much what I think the big news is, and that's got to be the MLB lockout. Apparently, there was a lot that went on this week. So over the weekend, we had some meetings that we didn't know really where we were going. The last thing that we left off with was the 15-minute meeting, and it was a train wreck. And apparently, they've made a lot of progress over the past couple of days, which I think is great, to say the least.
Yeah, apparently they had a really productive day yesterday.
Yeah.
And obviously the deadline's today, as we all know. So it's do or die.
Well, I saw that, but apparently I saw something too where the deadline could maybe there's some wiggle room if progress is seriously made, like it was actually indicated to us. I saw that from John Heyman, who works for MLB Network. So, I mean, that's a good sign too, because at least they're like, hey, even if we don't get it, it's not the end all be all. Like, there's still a hope the season can start on time.
Right.
And, you know, it's just, to me, it's like the MLB has to get this right. Like, they cannot afford in the long run of baseball to get this wrong and like sit out for like an extended period of time. Like, it will really, I think, ruin baseball. I mean, it's already a sport that literally is like losing popularity. Like, if we're being honest, like it used to be America's pastime, right? That's what everybody says. I don't think a lot of young people, especially our age, are that interested in baseball.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. The vast majority of people, I would say, are far more interested in football, obviously, because it's the most popular sport, without a doubt. But then, you know, there's people who are more concerned about soccer. There's people, I mean, the NBA, I would say, is pretty popular against or with our generation, though its ratings really aren't that great. But yeah, like baseball has to get this right. Like they have to play the season. They have to. There's no way they could go on without having this season go on. And we should be in spring training right now. You know, we should be hearing all the interviews where this guy who batted like 210 last year tells us he's in the best shape of his life. And we're supposed to be magically impressed. And those are the stories I want to be hearing right now. I don't want to hear that the owners and players met up at Roger Dean Stadium, which, by the way, not a bad spring training stadium. I've been there. It's not bad. The Marlins and the Cardinals are there. So, you know, solid. Just had to throw that in there. But, I mean, it's kind of weird that, you know, we're not talking about those things, and we should be. And I feel like it's kind of taken away from us. It's also the fun part because it's all the hopefulness for the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if the lockout did not happen, we would probably be on our third day or so of actual games.
Uh-huh.
But obviously that's not the case. So I really hope they get something done. I'm reading in the article here. So obviously they had productive talks over the course of yesterday and I guess over the weekend. Apparently among the major issues that still have to be worked out are the pre-arbitration bonus pool, minimum salaries, and the competitive balance tax.
Well, those are three really big things. So, you know, let me start first with the pre-arbitration thing. The players have been getting screwed for a long time with that. I mean, Vlad Guerrero, a guy who should have been called up. He's the most recent memory I can think of. Chris Bryant, also, I know he like launched a case where he was like, I should have been called up sooner. But now Chris Bryant's like almost 30 years old. So think about how long ago that was. And that was back when the Cubs were like still trying to, you know, get somewhere with their before they won the World Series. So that was a really long time ago. And I don't even think it was ever like done anything with. Like the players are just getting screwed blatantly on that. As for the next thing you said, which is the competitive balance tax. Here's the thing. We have teams that can spend all the money in the world, like your Phillies and my Yankees, and that's fine. But then we have all these teams who don't spend any money. Like, I'm not going to insult some franchises, but you know who they are. They don't spend any money. And it's like they're not even making an effort to put like a real team out there. Like they just want to like play it cheap, tank, and build with prospects in the future. You know what I mean? But until then, they know they're not going to win a championship, so they see no point in going for it, which I think is just a terrible way to run the league, and it makes everything less competitive.
I wanted to ask you, I'm not going to accuse these teams, but one of the teams that doesn't really spend a lot of money, the Marlins, did you hear about what happened with them? Derek Jeter stepped down.
Yeah. So,
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Okay. Yeah. So that
As the CEO of the
yeah.
Miami Marlins, that
yeah,
is.
I did see that. I just saw that as we were coming into the studio, and honestly, I don't know. Derek Jeter. The one thing I will always say about Derek Jeter, I love the guy, but it's his way or the highway. Like, if we're being honest. Like, I remember there's a story that like it was after the World Series that we won against your Phillies. He wanted another contract, and Brian Cashman was like, "Oh, I think you're worth whatever," and he's like, "I am not worth that." And it was like some really low ball contract because Jeter was at the end of his career, and he's like, it was a very low ball contract, and he goes like, "I am not worth that." And then apparently Derek Jeter left the meeting between him, Cashman, and his agent, and apparently he was like very mad. And he goes, "All I know is I'm going to be playing shortstop next year, starting on opening day. Figure it out. And I better be making at least whatever amount." And just left it for the agent and the him. Which, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, Derek Jeter's the captain. Like, we obviously have to pay him. But also at the same time, too, it kind of speaks to Brian Cashman's arrogance. Um, but hey, I guess that is GM. Sometimes you have to do that. I mean, we've seen Belichick do that in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes the best moves are getting rid of guys who are not going to be as great anymore. I mean, I'm not saying that like getting rid of Tom Brady was a good decision by the Patriots, but I understand what they're seeing. Like, you got to move on at some point, get younger. But still, I mean, Derek Jeter, to do that, I'm like surprised. We always think about him too, like as this great guy. But I mean, one of the things was when they traded for A-Rod, because A-Rod was a shortstop his whole career before he came to the Yankees and played third base. And he's like, "I'm not moving. I'm the shortstop," because they did win a couple World Series before, right? And they're like, "All right, well, I guess Alex Rodriguez is going to be the third baseman." So, I mean, that's true. That is another thing. It's like his way or the highway. I mean, I love the guy, but still, I mean, he's the captain, but still, at the same time, it is his way or the highway. It's kind of the way he rolls. So clearly, from what I have, is like somebody wanted to do something not his way, and he's like, "I'm out." That's probably what happened, in my opinion. I keep hitting in this thing, which I'm now going to move over. Hopefully, I stop hitting it. But yeah, definitely, there's had to be a disagreement there because there's no way he would just leave for no reason.
Yeah. The other thing is with the Marlins specifically, I mean, they haven't been that competitive in a few years.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they made the playoffs during the pandemic year.
They did. I don't know. They've kind of just been stuck in rebuild mode.
Yeah. I mean, they have some nice young players, but
they've got good pitching, actually.
Yeah, they do.
They're very underrated starting pitching staff.
They do have very good pitching.
But yeah, they've been stuck. They haven't really advanced the rebuild.
No, and it does take time, like I understand, but eventually you got to start winning.
Also, I feel like in Miami, it's just a tough city to win the fans over because, I mean, you see that their attendance is way down.
Okay, their attendance is way down, but I, in my honest belief, I don't like it's all the sports there, right?
They have all four, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like all the teams kind of struggle with the attendance. I mean, the Dolphins aren't that bad, but
right?
Like,
I would say the Heat are probably the one that doesn't struggle as much as the others.
No, there's definitely empty seats at the Heat games.
Yeah.
I mean, they were good when they had LeBron, but I mean, it's not like they're selling out the arena every night. Miami's a huge city.
I mean, there's so many things to do other than go to a sports game.
Exactly. There's things other to do. And also too, in Miami, you don't really get as many like retired old people like you do in like Tampa and the surrounding area. You know what I mean?
Right.
Miami's more like a younger city.
I mean, the nightlife's great.
Exactly. So they're not like, "Oh, let's go to the Marlins game tonight." Like, I mean, when the Yankees and the Mets don't, or I'm sorry, the Yankees don't really play down there, but when a team like the Mets and the Phillies go, I'm sure like it's a packed house because there's so many people from Pennsylvania and New York and New Jersey going there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But I mean, also too, like we'd say that there's not a want for baseball. I completely disagree because number one, Miami has a huge Latin American like population.
You're right about that.
And they love baseball. You know what I mean? It's the most popular sport, specifically from Cuba,
Right.
where baseball is king.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I agree with
They
that.
just don't
There's
see-
no
there's-
doubt. It's just not reflected in the attendance.
No, it's not. And maybe, you know what I mean? You have to remember too, like, you know, they have Little Havana where it's basically like, you know, Cuba 2.0 because so many people out there are from Cuba, obviously. I guess the Marlins don't do a very good job of reaching out to that community. I mean, that's one part of it. And also too, I have no idea what the tickets are like for Marlins games, but I'm sure they're not cheap like any sports game, but you know, they're not 25 cents like when the Sixers were, you know, hashtag processing, right?
I've been to their stadium down in Miami. I think it's called Lone Depot Park now. It's a great stadium, actually. It's not really in central downtown Miami. It's kind of off to the side a little bit.
It's the old Miami Hurricanes Stadium, the old Orange Bowl.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's great. It's huge stadium. I mean, it's nice and air conditioned inside just because it's really hot down there to begin with. It's really nice to watch a game down there. I miss the statue in the outfield.
Yeah, that thing looks stupid.
And they used to have fish tanks actually right by the dugouts.
Yeah, that was like behind, right? Like
it was behind, like if someone threw a wild pitch or something.
Very bizarre to me. I never really understood why they put that in, but they did.
Yeah.
So here's the next thing that I want to talk about too. I don't know if you saw this comment. We're going to move on to basketball. So the Lakers are a train wreck. We've been over that on this show. Like they're a terrible team. They're currently the 9 seed?
Yes.
Yeah, they're a joke. They have LeBron. They have Anthony Davis, who is hurt. Anthony Davis is hurt. But then
they announced. Sorry to cut you off. They announced that he's going to be out another 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't really matter. The team stinks anyway.
That's true.
But LeBron's out there, and Russell Westbrook's out there, and I think most people would agree those are 2 star caliber players, or at least, hey, LeBron, we all know what he can do, but Russell Westbrook's getting paid a lot of money too, and he's been absolutely horrible this year. Like he stinks. Like, and he needs to know that he stinks too. Like he needs to have a huge year next year because he looks awful out there. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to ask you, what did you think about when the Lakers played the Clippers and your boy LeBron did not take the last shot, instead just passed it over to Carmelo for a contested 3? Because always, you know, contested 3s are always great shots to take at the end of the game when there's no ball movement or anything like that, just making one pass. What do you think about LeBron, like not even taking the last shot? Like I understand they were playing. You told me at first, you're like, oh, they're double teaming him. Not really. I went back. They're like half double teaming him.
I didn't really watch it the second time, so maybe you're right.
There's one guy on him, but then there's another guy like following, trailing. I mean, I think LeBron could beat the one guy one-on-one. But even then, if there's 2 guys on you, make a move towards the basket and then kick it out. I mean, that's what I would think. But I would love to hear what you think about Mr. LeBron passing up the final shot.
No, you make a good point that, like, yes, he could have blown by the guy and maybe have gotten a better look. I mean, I guess in his defense, Melo was more open. I mean, if LeBron was going to shoot, Melo would have
that open though.
I think he was more open than LeBron would be if LeBron took that shot.
I'm not advocating for LeBron to take a jump shot. It was a 1-point game.
And then LeBron actually took the other game tying shot because I think the Clippers missed a free throw or something. They gave the ball back to the Lakers. I don't know what the score was at the time when you're referring to when LeBron passed it up, but they were down 3. LeBron took a fadeaway 3. He didn't really have a choice. There was like 1 second left, and then he missed on the front rim, barely grazed the rim. I guess, yeah, he could have gone to the rim. I'm not really sure how many seconds were left. Do you know how much time was left?
There was enough time to make a move. He was dribbling.
Those are like, what, 15 seconds or 10 seconds?
I think it was like under 10, but he was like standing there dribbling, like holding the ball. Like I think it was more than that.
There was no doubt that they probably had to go for a 3 because they were probably down what? Were they down 3 at the time?
They were down 1 point.
Oh, they were down 1 point. Oh, so LA Clippers probably made 2 free throws.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you could have gone to the rim. So that's supports your argument.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but I get it. If
options.
But I get it. If he seems like he's in trouble and he can't really do anything, I get why you pass. I mean, I'd probably do the same thing.
It is.
I mean, just because it's LeBron,
he's not in trouble, and he's supposed to be one of the. He claims to be the best player of all time, right? That's his whole thing. Is like me and Jordan, right?
Yeah.
You think Jordan would have passed that shot up? I mean, it wasn't. Like
he could have. I mean, we'll never know.
Probably not. You think Kobe would have passed that shot up? Probably not.
No, Kobe would not have.
Kobe would never have done that. Never.
I still don't think he made the wrong decision to pass it personally.
I think it's just you're LeBron James, right? Your whole thing is how you carry teams to the finals year after year. Well, not the past couple of years, but still, you're one of the best basketball players of all time. Don't you think in that situation he should be taking the shot? I mean, I think most people would agree that.
No, I agree with you there. I just don't think in the context of what the play actually was, I don't think it was a great look for him to take the shot. So I don't think you can fault him for passing. Like, he didn't turn the ball over. He gave Melo an open look. It wasn't that great of a look, but it was more open of a look than what LeBron would have had. I don't think you can deny that.
I don't know. We've seen him take shots like that before under pressure. I'm very surprised now.
Their problem is they cannot win the games they have to win. Like, the Clippers are a team they have to beat to probably get in the playoffs, and the Clippers own them. I think they've won 6 in a row in the regular season in the last 3 years or so
against them.
I mean, it's their crosstown rival. They play in the same arena.
Mm-hmm.
And then how about last night? They play the Pelicans, and the Pelicans are not a good team at all. Terrible. And they get blown out at home.
Yeah, and there was boos last night after a LeBron James turnover, whatever, and then they were booing Westbrook as well. And after the game, they asked Russell Westbrook about the boos, and let me read the comment that he had. He said, here he is. He said, if they boo, they can take their ASS word home. I ain't worried about that. It doesn't bother me. Clearly, it does bother you if you have to comment about it, number one. And number two, the fans should be booing because the Lakers stink. They're horrible. Like, I don't understand. Like, do these players have, like, no, like, mind to figure out that, like, hey, like, we stink. We're supposed to be a good team. We have superstars. And we stink, and people are pissed, and they should be pissed.
Yeah, I think they have every right to be upset with the team.
And let's be honest here. Like, is LA this, like, crazed sports city that, like, is on top of the team? Like, imagine this team was in, like, Philly or New York or Boston. Come on, give me a break here. Like, there's totally worse city or Chicago. Like, imagine the worst cities like that this could be.
Yeah,
there's definitely cities that care way more. About their teams than Los Angeles. That just goes to show if they're booing, and it wasn't the loudest boos that I've ever heard. I've definitely heard louder boos. Let's be honest. And if that's really getting to them, I mean, they really got to take a look in the mirror and figure out, like, hey, guys, like, we suck and we deserve to get booed. Like, I don't know if that, like, hasn't crossed their mind yet, but it should.
No.
Because they stink.
No, they stink. I mean, when you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, you should be expected to win more than however many games they won. 27 games. I was
gonna say they're
5 or 6 games under 500.
No, they're awful.
I mean, and there were rumors back in January that Frank Vogel, their coach, might have been on the hot seat. Like, they might have fired him, like, based on how he would do game by game. That's how dire of a situation it was. Yeah, they're just frustrating to watch.
And then I also saw something, too, about apparently Rich Paul, who's LeBron's agent. And then is he also Anthony Davis's agent?
He may be. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he is. And I know he's your boy Ben Simmons' agent, too. Apparently, Rich Paul had meetings with Laker management about, like, what the team should be doing. Probably on behalf of LeBron, right?
Yeah, I would assume so.
I would assume so. I mean, listen, I think that is where you start to draw the line. It's like, if it's LeBron doing it, it's one thing, but to have Rich Paul, I mean, that's a bad look. What does that say for, like, guy like Westbrook? Like, you know what I mean? No wonder he's doing so bad when you think about the added pressure, and then they're having secret meetings that literally don't even involve him. I mean, oh my God, what is a nightmare scenario there? Because now the team loses trust. I mean, no wonder it's a train wreck.
Yeah. It's just, since the start of the season, nothing has gone right for them.
And I said I didn't like that move because I remember Matt McHale literally said last year on the show when he was a guest, came on, is like, what do you think about Westbrook to the Lakers? I was like, I said I don't think they would ever do that trade because I just don't see how it would ever work because Westbrook's not a great shooter, and he does the exact same stuff that LeBron tries and does when they both have the ball. And Westbrook's not a great off-ball player. And honestly, LeBron isn't either. He's best with the ball in his hands. So I kind of don't want to say I predicted this wouldn't work, but I kind of predicted that it wouldn't work.
It's just crazy to see how good Westbrook was in the second half of last year with Washington.
But
because he was the guy. He's better when he's the number one.
Exactly. But also because Beal was hurt, right? In the second half of the last year.
Yeah, for a good chunk of it. Yeah.
So, and then I know Westbrook went on that tear to get them into the play-in, right? And I just don't. The thing in my mind is like he just doesn't fit with LeBron. Like it just doesn't fit. Like sometimes things don't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's who's to say that it's like, you know, like when a quarterback or something switches teams, like who's to say that what happened in the old scenario will work in the new situation? You know what I mean? Every situation is different. There's different coaches, there's different players around them. I mean, that's just how it works.
And when they were struggling earlier in the year, you would think that maybe they could figure something out, but they have not figured anything out.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
No, they have not.
And that's why they are where they are right now.
Yeah. All right. So I want to ask you I want to pick your brain on something else here. I don't know if you saw this tweet over the weekend, but it was from the guy Jordan Schultz. I forget who he works for. He's with a bunch of different people. I think he used to do some stuff with ESPN. And he says Cam Newton is a Hall of Famer. And he lists all these reasons why. And I don't know how I'm gonna not be biased. I'm not gonna say my thoughts in here. I'm just gonna try and like paint the tweet out for you. He says Cam Newton has more passing touchdowns than Troy Aikman and Joe Namath, more rushing touchdowns than Earl Campbell, LaShawn McCoy, Eddie George, and Thurman Thomas. I mean, none of those guys really played for that long, and I would never consider any of those guys to be the greatest running backs of all time. They're not like Emmitt Smith out here. Earl Campbell was pretty good though. And he has the league MVP. I mean, are we serious? We really think Cam Newton's a Hall of Famer? I mean, I like he had 5 to 6 maybe good seasons, but like he's been horrible since probably the Super Bowl, since he lost in the Super Bowl to the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how could we be honestly saying that Cam Newton is a Hall of Famer?
I mean, I'm not going to not knock Cam Newton. He's had a good career.
No, he's definitely had a good career. Like I understand.
But then you raise the question: Is he a Hall of Famer?
Is he one of the all-time greats? No, he is absolutely not one of the all-time greats.
No,
it's like not even a question in my mind. Like
his one season where the Panthers were 15-1. That season was unbelievable. Like he was the MVP of the league. There was no doubt he was the best player in the league during that season.
Von Miller was the best player in the league during that season. The Broncos defense was the best player in the league during that season. That's why, because they owned Cam Newton in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did.
Mean, that was a horrendous Super Bowl. Like Cam Newton played horrible.
You know, he wasn't
like,
great.
That's literally like people get on Matt Ryan for the 28-3 league, like the blowing of the lead. I think Matt Ryan probably is a better chance of a Hall of Famer than Cam Newton.
No, I don't disagree with that. I agree with that.
When you look at where he ranks in passing, and also too the quarterbacks that were just named. Troy Aikman and Joe Namath. Joe Namath played in like the 70s. They didn't throw the ball nearly as much then. And then Troy played in like the 80s and 90s, and he had Emmitt Smith. Like I get it too, but they didn't throw the ball nearly as much then. Think about how many times Emmitt touched the ball. He has the most touchdowns ever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No, but to answer your question, Cam Newton, I would say is probably not a Hall of Famer. No,
he's not.
Good career, but not Hall of Fame worthy.
And I meant most rushing yards ever, not touchdowns for Emmitt Smith. He has the most. Maybe he has the most touchdowns. I don't know. I don't think he does. But most rushing yards he has. He's definitely the rushing champ of the NFL.
No doubt.
No doubt about that. So yeah, I just wanted to like focus on that tweet for a little bit because I just thought that was so crazy, and I didn't know if it was me, and maybe I'm just a little biased because we beat the guy in the Super Bowl. But then I feel like if you're saying he's a Hall of Famer, then that opens the door for so many other people to be Hall of Famers.
You know, I'm on your side there.
Yeah. But if we're going to be honest, too, this is crazy, too. You want to hear other current quarterbacks who have more passing touchdowns than Troy Aikman and Joe Namath?
Fire away.
Ryan Tannehill
has more touchdown passes than Joe Namath?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And Troy Aikman.
Wow.
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton has more.
Yeah. Jay Cutler. Matt Hasselbeck, Alex Smith,
This is some list you got
and
here.
Derek Carr. None of those guys are Hall of Famers. Just because you have more passing touchdowns, especially in today's NFL where they throw the ball way more than they did back then.
Yeah, they all sound like journeyman veteran quarterbacks.
And that's exactly what Cam Newton is at this point in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. The Patriots stint was a disaster. He was awful. He was terrible 2 seasons ago. And then I have no idea what his plans are this year, right? I mean,
is he still on the Panthers roster?
I have like no idea because didn't they give him a contract, but then it wasn't like guaranteed or something?
I'm not really sure.
Apparently, he's still a quote unquote option for them at quarterback.
The only thing I remember about him last year is when they played the Cardinals. They crushed the Cardinals.
That was 4 rushing touchdowns, right? Or something.
He went off in that game.
Yeah.
One-hit wonder for that season.
Yeah. I know. That was pretty crazy. And then also, too, I don't know if you saw this, but later in the year is the World Cup in Qatar.
Yes, that's correct.
And I think it starts in late November?
I believe so.
And did you see what happened today with FIFA?
Yes, they
banned Russia from the World Cup.
They did. They banned the men's and women's team.
Yeah, Russia, I don't believe even had qualified yet, but there were still some spots up for grabs from the European region. But that's pretty crazy. I mean,
I believe the official statement was they banned the men's and women's teams from international competition until further notice.
Yeah, and I'm okay. I'm surprised that it happened, but I'm really not surprised because I'm not everybody's like, okay, what can we do in this situation, right? And they looked at this and they're like, okay, this is what we think we can do. You know what I mean? And the FIFA said that. But honestly, I think about this too. It's are the athletes really involved in this?
I don't know.
It's I think it's an unfair to paint the athletes okay, you're out. But obviously we know Russia has a history of cheating in sporting events though. Ice skating and
I mean, just look at the Olympics. They're not even called Russia in the Olympics. They're called the Russian Olympic Committee.
Yeah, because they're not allowed to play or under the country. Yeah.
I mean, that alone says enough, I think.
Because of all this stuff with the cheating. It was in figure skating and ice hockey. It was all this doping. It was insane. It was insane.
The notable one from recent times is the figure skating woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember her name.
I don't remember her name either. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
And then I think she ended up winning a medal. Did she win gold?
Yeah, I think she won silver.
Or she won silver or bronze.
Yeah, it was quite the controversy when she won. And obviously as it should be, because if you break the rules, you break the rules. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just not sure if I understand why they're doing it. I understand what's happening and the magnitude of everything. But it's just tough for me. It's I can't help but think about those athletes. I'm are they directly involved? Are they responsible for this? No, kind of not really.
No, they're really not.
They're really not. They're really not.
It's really just a reflection of what has been happening.
Yeah. And I feel I understand you want to take action against the country for what has happened, but that's a job for higher things in the world, such as the UN, etc. But I mean, I don't know if banning them from the World Cup is the right thing, just because I don't think those athletes are directly responsible. I understand why, but I'm just not sure you're punishing the right people.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
I mean, that's honestly how I feel. That's honestly how I feel when I think about the situation.
Sorry, I was just scrolling through the teams that have qualified for the World Cup. Now you got me thinking about the World Cup.
Uh-huh.
I love the World Cup. I know it happens only once every 4 years.
Yeah.
So this is different because you bring up it starts late November. I mean, this has never happened before. It's usually a summertime event.
It's usually a summertime, but since it's in the Middle East and it's obviously very, very hot there because it's the desert,
right?
They have to move it to the winter.
Yeah, this is the first time they're having it in. I guess you could say it's the Arab world, in that region of the world.
In the Middle East, yeah, this is the first time they're having it.
I think they refer to it as the Arab world for some reason. I don't know why. At least that's what Wikipedia says.
Okay. Well.
And the other thing I was going to bring up is the timing, because obviously what's going on in November and December, especially here in the States, it's the height of the NFL season.
Yeah, well, I mean, Fox covers the World Cup,
but they also
covers
have
the NFL.
NFL coverage
So
deals.
I mean, I don't know what the timing is. Maybe, I mean, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be on in the morning.
I don't know what
guess.
the time zone's like. Maybe it's 7 hours ahead or so.
I know. I would assume it's like 7 or 8 hours. So if you go 7 o'clock there,
The way that the Euro 2020 tournament was ran last summer was because that was in different cities in Europe, and the time zones are probably pretty similar, maybe an hour or two off or whatever.
I liked what they did.
They had like games at 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. and 3 p.m.
That was good. I thought it was good. I thought that was a very executed well tournament in terms of scheduling.
Right. Because soccer games usually last, or soccer matches, excuse me, usually last 2 hours. Sometimes they go a little longer, just depending on if it's a knockout game, maybe it goes to extra time, and that's another half hour, and then PKs.
And then, yeah.
Usually they're around 2 hours if you're playing the full 90 minutes. That's the one thing with soccer. As much as it might be hard to watch on TV sometimes, just because
there's no commercials.
There's no commercials. It's commercial free. I love that. Like you can say you want the clock going up is a weird concept, but I don't mind it.
It makes sense to me.
I love international soccer. It's like the only soccer I usually watch. I mean, I watch MLS Premier League here and there, but it's fun.
I really only watch like the major tournaments.
I just hope that the USA qualifies, and they're on track to. So hopefully they can finish the job.
Yeah, hopefully, because I don't want another World Cup where I don't know who to root for.
Right. They should qualify. If everything goes right, they'll qualify.
Obviously, our women's team is very, very, very good.
Right.
Although they were disappointing in the last Olympics, as we all know.
Right.
We're expected to win.
Yeah, only 15 teams have qualified so far, and I believe they have 32 teams in it. But the next World Cup in 2026, which we're actually hosting, partially with Canada and Mexico.
I think the finals are in America, right?
The majority of the games are here in the States.
Yeah.
Canada and Mexico are getting a small handful, but there's going to be 48 teams. They're expanding from 32 to 48.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll give us the automatic bid for hosting. Usually they do that.
They do. They are.
Because you brought up Russia. Russia hosted in 2018.
Yeah, so they got the last World Cup was in Russia.
And they actually got all the way to the quarterfinals. They did pretty well. Because Russia soccer is like not bad, but it's not great. They always have like a decent team. They got pretty far. Qatar is in it this year. I don't know how good Qatar in soccer is. But
I don't either. I don't think they've ever been to competitions before, have they? Like in any major competition?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's the first one.
They weren't in like no, they wouldn't be in the Euros because it's the Middle East, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I guess that's interesting to see too.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. That's a few months down the road.
Yeah, that is a few months down the road.
A long ways from now.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick little break. It was fun discussing that. When we come back, we're going to discuss some college sports. I want to talk about the lacrosse game from Saturday. Obviously, we played number 6 Rutgers, who I'm pretty sure their ranking went up.
We'll talk about what happened even before that game started, too. With the jerseys?
Oh, yeah. And then we can also discuss there was a lot of major losses in college basketball this week. And then also, too, our own Loyola Greyhounds. They're in the Patriot League tournament, both the men's and women's. So, we'll discuss that all when we come back here on After the Whistle.
sitting here in this chair. I'm trying to pretend I don't even care. Your heart goes on. Your girl's hard to know.
All right, everybody, we are back in here on After the Whistle. You're listening to WLOI, Loyola Radio, streaming online at WLOI.org and on Campus TV channel 111.1. All right, so we're back. I wanted to discuss this. This was one of the first things I wanted to discuss. How about the upsets this week in college basketball? Well, there was a lot of big ones.
All over the place.
All over the place. So number one, Gonzaga lost. Arizona also lost. But what's crazy, Arizona lost to University of Colorado. Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's College in California. Those teams stayed 1-2.
They did?
Yeah. That's kind of bizarre to me. Don't you think?
It is. And I have something else
But the
later about the
problem-
lacrosse rankings that I'll get into.
But the problem is a lot of other teams lost too. It was not just Gonzaga and Arizona. We also had Kentucky lose, Kansas lost, Purdue lost, and Auburn lost. And all those teams were in the top 10. And then also Texas Tech, who was number 9, they also lost. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what other teams you could have moved up because the only teams that really won were, Baylor and Duke, who were up there because everybody else lost.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's like March is starting early. That's what it feels like.
March is definitely
get an early Christmas present.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could have made a case that I guess Baylor should have been first, only because they had beaten Kansas by 10. And Kansas is now the number 6 team after they were number 5. But it's like, at the same time, do you think they're better than Gonzaga and Arizona? That's up for debate.
Yeah.
That's up for debate.
I will give you credit. I remember we were talking about teams to look out for. You said Arizona.
I know. Yeah.
25-3.
Yeah. They're playing pretty good.
They have a big one tomorrow night. They go at USC.
And so here's the new top 10 for this week. Number 1's Gonzaga. Number 2, as I said, Arizona. Number 3 is Baylor. Number 4 is Duke. 5 is Auburn, who probably dropped. They dropped a couple spots because they really shouldn't have lost to Tennessee. That's a tough one for them. And then Kansas, Kentucky lost, but they had a lot of injuries. Kentucky, so like I kind of give them a little bit of a pass. They really were not at full strength. Purdue losing to Michigan State, that was not good. I mean, they did not really look good. I mean, that good against them.
That's alarming.
Yeah. And then also, too, Providence, the Friars, they're number 9. And then the 10th team is Wisconsin, who is playing very good right now.
And they actually play Purdue tomorrow night.
They do.
That's a huge game in the Big Ten.
There's a lot of great games. A lot of great games.
I know this month coming up of March for college b-ball, there's nothing better.
Yeah. So I feel like this year, and I feel like we say this every year, but it is definitely true. It's competitive from top to bottom. I think anybody can win it. I think anybody
I would agree with that too.
Listen, we look around. There's a lot of good teams that I did not name in that top 10. Think about a team like UCLA, who they're dealing with some injuries right now, haven't really been playing that great. And also, too, Jeffrey, you were talking about big games this week. USC, who's ranked 16th, plays Arizona on Tuesday.
And then UCLA plays USC on Saturday.
Yep. So, I mean, a lot of really good games. And then Villanova and Providence is on Tuesday, too.
Yeah, that is a huge game in the Big East.
Yeah. A lot of really, really, really good games. I mean, I can't wait. And then
later in the week, Baylor, Texas, Kansas.
Baylor plays Texas on tonight, too. So I mean,
Arkansas plays Tennessee. I mean, they're 14-13.
I know a lot of ranked games this week, which is awesome, phenomenal. I love it. I love when good teams play against each other. I want to see that. That's the kind of stuff you want to see.
One game we haven't mentioned yet that's happening on Saturday is North Carolina plays Duke for the second time. It's Coach Gay's last home game. And I just got a notification here. According to Front Office Sports, the average ticket price is over $5,000.
Wow, really?
That's crazy.
That is crazy. That is definitely crazy. How much you think it should be worth, in your opinion? Like you've been to a Super Bowl, so like obviously there's a lot more seats there, but
I mean, yeah, this is a college basketball arena. I mean, obviously Cameron Indoor is a great place to watch a game. I'm sure I've never been there in person, but just watching on TV, the Cameron crazies go crazy for a reason. Yeah, 5,000 seems like a lot.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Obviously, it's because of Coach K. It's the final game. I mean, any other Duke Carolina game is going to be a lot of money just because of the historical rivalry that it is.
Mm-hmm. Duke is not nearly as big a stadium as the Smith.
The Dean
Center.
Smith Center.
Yeah,
they call it the Dean Dome too.
The Dean Dome, yeah.
Cameron Indoor is not as big. You're right.
It's nowhere near as big. So yeah, I guess I'm not really surprised.
Yeah, it could be a little less.
A lot can change this week though in college basketball. Let me just say that. Imagine Arizona loses again.
I know that'll be something. They've dropped more.
I know.
Actually, I have breaking news, not college basketball related, but MLB Lockout related. This guy from The Athletic said that the league has indicated they're prepared to cancel a month's worth of games during today's meetings.
I thought we were making progress. What the heck happened?
This guy tweeted, his name's Evan Drelich. He said MLB today indicated a willingness to miss a month of games and took a more threatening tone than yesterday. Sources briefed on the day's first meeting between MLB and the players. They're
trying to get the players.
And then he tagged Ken Rosenthal and someone else named Fabian Ardaya. Full context of conversation not yet known.
They're trying to get the players to reach their demands. The owners are.
Yeah.
And
doesn't seem like good news based on that.
I was gonna say that is not a good report after what we heard all weekend.
Yeah, I just got it. I figured I had to bring it up.
I don't know. Like I said, you got to play the season. I cannot believe that. All right. So anyway, when we were talking, let's go to some good news. Teams who are actually going to be playing. The Patriot League tournament is announced for the. We're going to go over the men's first. So our Loyola Greyhounds here do not play until Thursday, and they play at Boston University. So
tough game
for sure.
The bright side is that we did beat Boston up there in Boston in the early part of January. Obviously, we're a much different team now than we were. Hopefully we can regain some of that magic, some of that form from that game. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Obviously, we're not favored, but
no. So we're on the road because we're at Boston University.
I think we have a chance, just considering. I mean, if Cam is like the way he was, I mean, if we get other secondary scoring from Jalen Andrews and Kenny Jones and other guys to chip in too, the big men, if the Illich twins and Golden DK can chip in and some other guys can make shots.
When we play our game to the best of our ability, we can play with anybody.
And I think the key is offensively. I mean, they do a lot of dribble handoffs and they kind of rely on constant movement. If they can just keep moving around, set screens, I mean, they're going to get open shots.
Yeah.
And you just got to hit the shots.
Yeah. It's just about, it's a make miss kind of game. We all know that. So anyway, as far as Loyola goes, if they were to win that game versus Boston University, they would play the winner of the American Holy Cross game, who are two teams that the last time we played, we both lost to. So the winner of that game would play Navy, who we just were in a nail biter with, who's the 2 seed. So, I mean, listen, it's not going to get any easier if we can find a way to win. Like, we definitely got our work cut out for us in this tournament. And we would have to win, just so everybody knows, 1, 2, 3 games in a row to make the tournament.
It sounds like it's not too hard. Just because, like, oh, we can win 3 in a row. Like 3 in a row doesn't sound that bad. But I mean, it's going to be 3 tough games.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you start with the one game. I mean, obviously, it's do or die. This is tournament play, conference tournament play. That is. Yeah, going up to Boston's going to be a tall task for sure.
It is going to, and I believe Boston University was picked to win the conference in the offseason. So
I think they were.
They were.
Even though they actually are the 3 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of flipping though. I would say between the 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of
Right. Colgate really just took off. I mean, 16-2 in the league.
Okay, but we played them, and we almost came back
We did. We were down majority of the game,
double digits.
but we stormed back. We made it a game
I
at
know.
the end.
I mean, it was like 15 at one point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can play with those guys, man. If we can just play our best game, I know we can beat them. I do. I'll say that.
We just played Navy tough too.
I was gonna say if we just get a couple more bounces to go our way, we could totally.
I mean, we lost to Navy twice by a combine of 3 points. Like that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I think we can get it done. I mean, obviously, the two things you bring up all the time are free throws and turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
The turnovers, obviously, that's more of a team thing. I mean, if you can just be clean with the ball.
I mean, they're both team things.
Yeah, the free throws thing, I mean, it's obviously more individualized because there's one person shooting.
Yeah, but as a whole, the team's got to make them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have to collectively get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now let's kind of like flip sides for a little bit. The women's team also at Loyola, they have their Patriot League game. So their first game is actually March 5th. They don't play for a little bit. So that's not for, until next Saturday. And they are the 10 seed, and they go to play Lafayette. And then if they were to win that game, if they were to find a way, they would then play the 2 seed, who I don't see, doesn't appear that it is here. I don't know. No, it doesn't indicate who the 2 seed is here. So they would have their work cut out for them too. They would have to win 4 games.
Right.
So that's tough.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially when you go on the road too.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that one of them would get a home playoff game. Obviously, it's not the case, but.
Yeah, me too. I was hoping for that too. That would be awesome. I wish the Patriot League did like a tournament though, like in one spot. I think it would make life a lot easier.
It would.
Say that. Because you have to travel, and going up to Boston, to Colgate, down to Annapolis is kind of a lot.
It is.
I mean, Colgate's in the middle of nowhere, New York. I guess you fly into Syracuse or Buffalo, but it's still a very long drive.
I think Syracuse is the nearest airport.
Yeah, but who's to say you could get a flight to Syracuse from here? I mean, how many flights do you think they really have from Baltimore?
They probably have a select few per day.
I don't even know.
I know they have some just because I've looked, but.
Because they have that. And also that costs money too, remember?
Right.
But also, even if that, like you might have to go to the other airports, because there are other airports. There's the ones in Washington. But there's no guarantee. So yeah, the traveling is also, I mean, I never really considered that, but it is definitely something that you have to take into account. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I really would love to see our team make it there. I mean, either team, you know what I mean? I think it would be awesome. It's going to be tough though.
Oh my God. If we were a 15 seed or whatever, a 16 seed, I would go to the game. No doubt.
I would just just to see it would be awesome.
Yeah. We were so close last year on the men's side.
I know. It would be awesome.
It's like, I'm not comparing this to the Super Bowl. You know how you bring up like once you're in the Super Bowl, you don't know if you're going to be back.
That's the same thing you could be saying though about this. It's like we're there in 2012, but that was obviously long before you and I were here.
Yeah, last year. Oh, we were right there.
I know.
I mean, obviously we have to put that in the past because we can't erase the past.
Yep, I agree.
We'll see how it unfolds.
Yeah, so we will see how it unfolds. So also too, now, I mean, I know we said we're going to talk about some lacrosse here, so we can talk about it for the last 8 minutes or so. So tell me, what are the new rankings? Where did the Greyhounds go to? Because what did we lose by 1 to Rutgers?
Yes, 13-12.
Yep, we lost 13-12. I thought it was a game that we could have definitely won. It was a tough loss. Again, just I don't know. We're there. We can compete. We're just not able to find a way to win, unfortunately. So tell me, did we fall out of the top 25?
So the way they actually do it, they don't do a top 25. They only rank the top 20.
Oh, okay.
It's actually crazy. I thought we were no doubt going to drop out of the top 20, but we actually only dropped one spot to 20.
I was gonna say, like, we really shouldn't like move that much. I mean, I think we've shown that we could play with good teams.
Yes, and obviously we're 0-3. We have not won a game yet.
I know, but
we've played Maryland, Johns Hopkins, and Rutgers. Maryland was number 2 at the time. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I mean, we did not have a very high chance of winning that game. So like losing that game was not surprising. The margin of loss, though, yeah, it was a little alarming. Obviously, the 2 stingers were losing to Johns Hopkins and Rutgers because we both had 2 or 3 goal leads in the games. The 2-goal lead in Hopkins game, the 3-goal lead in Rutgers, and we slipped away at the end. It was the
same exact thing this week.
It was deja vu all over again.
Deja vu. The offense went cold, and the defense couldn't get a couple stops, and it was just a nightmare scenario, and the game got flipped on its head.
Right.
And then we battled back.
We really did. I thought we actually took control most of the way. I mean, there were a few
I thought we played
instances where we had some lapses. It's just we had our big laps at the worst time.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, too, another thing that I saw, well, actually, too, before we go into that, how about, so everyone's wondering, like, why did the Rutgers Loyola men's last game get pushed back?
Oh, right. I did bring this up before the break.
Yeah, so you and I were sitting there, and I guess it was a father of, I don't know which, I guess he was a Loyola parent, and he's on the phone talking to somebody.
This guy's sitting right behind Jimmy and I.
Right behind us. And he goes like, yeah, Rutgers forgot their uniforms.
And I remember you turned around and you go, are you serious?
Yeah. And he goes like, yeah, they forgot their uniforms. So that was the reason the game got delayed, what?
40 An hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
The game was supposed to start at 12 p.m.
Okay. So an hour and 15 minutes was because Rutgers forgot their uniforms. I have so many questions now. It's like, did they leave without them and then just call up somebody back in New Brunswick and like, hey, we forgot our uniforms?
Didn't he say that someone had to drive back?
Probably.
To get them?
Somebody had to go, or somebody.
They're probably on their way here and then they realized it. That's just crazy to me. How you forget a jersey?
I have no idea.
As a sports team.
I know. They should have had to play with pennies. They should have.
I honestly thought they would just play in, I don't know, practice like T-shirts.
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I guess you got to have your uniforms, right? I don't know. That's crazy. But remember that happened a couple of years ago in a D1 basketball game?
Yeah, I think it might have been last year, 2 years ago.
Somebody played Drexel, and they had to use Drexel.
Was it Holy Cross?
No, I thought it was Coppin State.
I think it was Coppin State.
They had to play Drexel, and they had to use their practice uniforms, which is crazy to think about.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the game as far as the game goes. Again, we switched our goalies in the middle of the game this week, which is tough ask to just bring somebody in the middle, and it's like kind of like cold turkey right into the game. Like that can't be easy, especially in a game that's as tough as lacrosse for goalies. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to question the coach here, but at the same time, I'm like thinking about it from the player standpoint. I'm like, that cannot be easy.
No, it can't be.
No, I mean, at all. It's not easy for any position just to come in to the game cold. You know what I mean? Like imagine just switching quarterbacks in the middle of the game. It's almost unheard of. It's very rare.
Yeah, I feel like at some point we're going to have to just hopefully find the guy and stick with him.
Yeah, it tells me the coach is clearly I don't want to say confused. He just doesn't have enough confidence in anybody.
Yeah, he's clearly in a little pickle with the goalie situation.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is.
I don't know. I hope we figure it out.
You combine that with the goalie giving up a couple goals when he comes in, and then our offense going ice cold, and it makes everything horrible. But then he started to make saves, and then our offense still was nowhere to be found. You know what I mean? I don't know. We go on these explosions on offense, and then we just go ice cold, and it sucks to watch because we just look helpless out there when we're ice cold. I think our team really flows from their offense. So when the offense isn't cooking, it makes the day very tough.
Right.
At least from what I can see.
Yeah, I would say the bright side, obviously 0-3 is not how you want to start. It's not how any team wants to start, but
not at
the
all.
2 games that the men's team has this week, they play Towson at home Wednesday night, and they play at Lafayette on Saturday afternoon. I mean, those 2 teams are teams that we should beat.
First conference game.
Right. That Lafayette game will be big. The Towson game obviously is big just in the sense that it's a local rival.
Are we still like the highest ranked team from the Patriot League?
No, we are not. I believe Army is ranked higher.
Interesting.
Army is number 16. They're 3-1. It's just interesting that we're still ranked at number 20 despite not winning a game because there's some teams that are unranked. Like BU's 3-0, Bucknell's 4-0, and those are two Patriot League teams that are probably notable for our sake.
What about the Cornell Big Red? Shout out to Michael Bozzi. Where did they rank?
They jumped up one spot. They're at 13. They're 2-0.
Okay.
They have 2 games this week as well.
Well, that's good luck to him and the
Thank you.
Big Red this week.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll get
and then
some wins.
Good luck to our team too.
Right.
Obviously, I want our team to win. Towson and over Towson on Wednesday, and then against Lafayette on Saturday. Then what about the women's team? What do they have this week?
So I believe that they have a game Wednesday. They might play. Actually they did play Towson already because sometimes the men's team will play the same team as the women's, but they might be like both home or both away or one road, one home. I'm not really sure who they play. I'm gonna have to look it up here. They play. Okay, they have 2 games this week. Little Pennsylvania action here. They go to Penn on Wednesday night, play at UPenn, and then they host Penn State on Saturday.
Well, good luck to them this week too. I don't think they've lost yet, right?
They have not. They are 2-0.
And then where are they ranked?
I'll have to check it. Actually, I just had the rankings up, but I'll have to go back.
I imagine they're
into it
somewhere pretty good, considering coming into the season we had a very high ranking.
Right. So they're at number 9 right now.
So
that's good.
Yeah, that's good. It's great. Hopefully we can keep moving up the rankings.
I'm trying to find if Penn or Penn State's ranked. I do not think either of them are ranked.
All right. Well, hopefully we can win those games and make our record 4-0, but one game at a time. So maybe just focus on 3-0 right now.
Yeah, one game at a time.
One game at a time.
That's all it is. Yep.
One show at a time.
One show at a time, yeah.
Yeah, so now, unfortunately, we have about 5 seconds left here in the show. Jeffrey, an honor as always to do the show with you.
Yeah, you too, Jimmy. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on Friday. Are we doing the show Friday?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I'm around. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I believe we'll do a show, but we might not. So let's see what happens. All right. Thank you for tuning in. And then we'll be sure to post on social media if we are or if we aren't. So thank you. And everyone have a great day.